Step out of the vehicle, now.
I'm just getting gas, sir. Is there a problem?
Don't sir me. You think that uniform makes you special?
No, sir. I'm just trying to finish fueling.
License, registration, and military ID. Bet it's fake.
It's not fake. I can show
Turn
you right
around.
now.
Hands behind your back. You're under arrest.
Officer Blake had no idea what he just walked into. In the next 48 hours, his badge would be suspended, his department would issue a public apology, and the Pentagon would personally step in. The quiet Marine he was handcuffing, Captain James Rivera, a decorated combat veteran with 12 years of service. Captain Rivera wasn't just some kid in a costume. He was a Marine Corps intelligence officer returning from a classified briefing at Camp Pendleton. The ribbons on his chest, a Bronze Star, 2 Purple Hearts, a Navy Commendation Medal with Valor. He'd served 3 tours in Afghanistan. He'd trained elite reconnaissance units. And the gas station's security cameras were capturing everything, including the moment Officer Blake called his uniform a Halloween costume. Before I continue, let me ask you, have you ever been mistreated by someone in power? Drop your answer in the comments. But Officer Blake had no idea who he was putting in handcuffs. Captain James Michael Rivera was 34 years old. He'd been in the Marine Corps for 12 years. He enlisted at 22. He was commissioned as an officer at 26. He held the rank of captain. He worked in Marine Corps intelligence at Camp Pendleton. Rivera wasn't playing soldier. He had a bachelor's degree in international relations from the University of San Diego. He had a Master S in strategic intelligence from Marine Corps University. He specialized in counterintelligence and Middle East operations. His service record was real. The Bronze Star with Valor, he earned it for heroic actions under fire in Helmand Province in 2019. The 2 Purple Hearts, an IED blast in 2018, a shrapnel wound in 2020, the Navy Commendation Medal for training over 200 Marines in reconnaissance operations. He spoke fluent Arabic and Pashto. He held a top-secret security clearance. He served 3 combat tours in Afghanistan. On this Tuesday night, Rivera was driving back from a 14-hour classified briefing. He stopped for gas at 11:47 p.m. He was still in his service uniform because he'd gone straight from the meeting. He was exhausted. He just wanted to get home to his wife and 6-year-old daughter. He had no idea he was about to become a national headline. Officer Derek Blake had a reputation in Oceanside, and it wasn't good. Blake was 29 years old. He'd been with the Oceanside Police Department for 4 years. Before that, he worked security at a shopping mall. He had no military service background. Internal Affairs had 11 complaints against Blake in just 4 years. Everyone involved excessive use of authority, verbal abuse, questionable stops. In March 2023, Blake pulled over a black teenager for suspicious driving at 3 p.m. on a Saturday. The teen was delivering pizzas. A complaint was filed. No action was taken. In July 2023, Blake threatened to arrest a homeless veteran for loitering outside a convenience store. The veteran was waiting for a ride to the VA hospital. The store owner had to step in. A complaint was filed. Blake received verbal counseling. In September 2024, Blake confronted a Marine reservist in civilian clothes at this same gas station. He accused him of stolen valor for having a USMC bumper sticker. The reservist showed his military ID. Blake called it probably fake. The reservist's commanding officer filed a complaint. Gas station employees called Blake Badge Blake, the cop who loved throwing his weight around. The night manager had asked the department not to send Blake on calls to their location. Here's the thing, Blake had a chip on his shoulder about military personnel. His application to Marine Corps Officer Candidate School had been rejected twice. He failed the physical fitness test both times. Let me know in the comments, do you know someone who abuses their power like this? On October 17, 2024, Blake's insecurities and his badge were about to collide with the wrong Marine. It was Tuesday, October 17, 2024. The time was 11:47 p.m. The Shell gas station sat at 3847 Mission Avenue in Oceanside, California. It was half a mile from Camp Pendleton's main gate. Locals called it the Marine Station. About 60% of customers were military. The gas station had 6 pumps. It was well lit. Security cameras covered every angle. It was a cool October night. 68 degrees, quiet for a weeknight. Only 3 other cars were at the pumps. Country music played faintly from the convenience store speakers. Marcus Chen was the night manager. He was 43 years old, former Navy. He knew the military crowd. He was behind the counter, restocking cigarettes. 2 customers were inside, a trucker buying coffee, a college student grabbing snacks. Captain Rivera was at pump 4. He was filling his Jeep Cherokee. A retired couple was at pump 6. At 11:51 p.m., Officer Blake's patrol car pulled into the lot. He'd been parked across the street, running radar. 0 calls, slow night. He was looking for something to do. Blake spotted Rivera's vehicle. He noticed the Marine Corps license. E-plate frame. Marcus saw Blake through the window. He muttered, "Oh no, not again." Blake approached Rivera mid-pump. His hand was on his belt near his weapon. "Evening, that your vehicle?" "Yes, sir, just getting gas." Blake circled the Jeep. He checked the inspection sticker, the plates, the back seat. "You always drive around in costume." Rivera looked down at his uniform, confused. "This isn't a costume, I'm active duty." We'll see about that." Marcus Chen reached for his phone. He'd seen Blake do this before, but this time, something told him to start recording. If stories like this matter to you, hit subscribe. License, registration, and military ID, now. Of course, Rivera reached slowly for his wallet. "My ID is in here with my license." "Keep your hands where I can see them." Rivera froze. His hands were visible. "I'm just getting my wallet like you asked." Blake snatched the IDs. He examined them with his flashlight. "Captain, you look a little young to be a captain." "I was commissioned 6 years ago, sir." "Where'd you get this uniform?" "Army surplus store." Rivera stayed calm. "It was issued to me at Camp Pendleton. I work there." "These ribbons real? Bronze Star, Purple Heart. That's a lot of hero medals for someone I've never seen around base." "I keep a low profile. I work in intelligence." Blake scoffed. "Oh, intelligence. Real convenient. Can't tell me what you do because it's classified, right?" "That's correct, but I can give you the duty officer's number if you need to verify." "I don't need to verify anything. I think you're full of it." Rivera's jaw tightened. "Officer, with respect, I've had a long day. I just want to finish fueling and get home to my family." Blake stepped closer. He invaded Rivera's space. "You'll go home when I say you can go home. Right now, I think you're impersonating a military officer. That's a federal crime. Stolen valor." "I'm not impersonating anyone. That's my real name, my real rank, my real service record." "Turn around, hands behind your back." "You're arresting me, for what?" "I just told you, stolen valor, impersonating a service member, maybe false identification." Rivera didn't move. "Those aren't real charges. You can verify everything right now. Call the base, call the MP station. They know who I am." Blake's voice rose. "I said turn around." Marcus Chen was filming from inside the store. His phone was pressed to the window. The retired veteran at Pump 6 walked over. "Officer, I'm former Army. That uniform is legit. Those ribbons are in the correct order. He's the real deal." "Sir, step back, or you're interfering with an arrest." A college student filmed from inside the store. She was live streaming to TikTok. Blake grabbed Rivera's arm. He tried to pull it behind his back. Rivera used control. "Don't touch me. I haven't committed a crime." "You're resisting now too." Rivera's voice was firm but not aggressive. "I'm not resisting. I'm standing here asking you not to make a mistake you can't take back." 10 minutes later, Blake snapped the handcuffs on Rivera's wrists. Type justice in the comments if you think this was wrong. What Officer Blake didn't know was this. Captain Rivera's commanding officer had been trying to reach him for the past 10 minutes. When the call went to voicemail, the colonel did something Blake never expected. He called the Oceanside Police Department directly. By the time Blake snapped the handcuffs on Rivera's wrists, a lieutenant was already being sent to the scene, and Marcus's video was already being shared across Marine social media groups. The caption read, "OPD at it again." At 11:58 p.m., Lieutenant Sarah Ortiz pulled into the gas station. She was Blake's shift supervisor. She'd gotten a call from the watch commander. The watch commander had gotten a call from a Marine Corps colonel. Blake had Rivera in handcuffs. He was walking him toward the patrol car. "Blake, stop right there. What's going on?" "Got a stolen Valor case, taking him in for processing." Ortiz looked at Rivera in his uniform. She saw the ribbons. She saw the calm demeanor. "Sir, what's your name and rank?" "Captain James Rivera, Marine Corps Intelligence, stationed at Pendleton." Blake interrupted. "He's lying. Probably bought that uniform online." "Did you verify his credentials?" "I don't need to verify. It's obvious." "Did you call the base? Did you call the duty officer?" "I was about to." "So you arrested an active duty Marine without verification?" Marcus Chen stepped outside. His phone was still recording. "Lieutenant, I have the whole thing on video." Officer Blake approached him without cause. The captain was polite the entire time. Blake escalated everything. "Send me that video, now." Robert Martinez stepped forward. He was the retired Army veteran. He was 67 years old. "Ma'am, I'm a 25-year Army vet. I know military bearing when I see it. This man is the real deal. That officer has been harassing military personnel at this station for months. I filed a complaint myself back in July." Martinez showed Ortiz his VA card and his own military ID. The college student walked up. Her name was Olivia Chen. She was 19. "I live-streamed the whole thing. It already has 3,000 viewers. People are saying they know him. They've served with him." She showed Ortiz the TikTok comments. Marines from Camp Pendleton were confirming everything. "That's Captain Rivera. I know him. He's legit. That's my former commanding officer." Ortiz radioed the watch commander. "I need you to call Camp Pendleton and verify Captain James Michael Rivera, Marine Corps Intelligence." 3 minutes later, the response came. "Confirmed, active duty, security clearance, top secret, and his co wants to know why we have him in handcuffs." Ortiz's face went pale. "Blake, uncuff him right now." "But that's an order. Uncuff him, apologize, and get in your vehicle." Blake uncuffed Rivera. His hands were shaking slightly. "Look, I was just doing my job, you understand. Lots of people fake." Rivera rubbed his wrists. "I want your badge number, your supervisor's name, and a formal complaint form." Blake tried to backtrack. "There's no need for that. This was just a misunderstanding. No harm done, right? You arrested me. You accused me of federal crimes. You called my service a costume. There was harm done. But wait, there's more to this." At 12:14 a.m., Olivia's TikTok video was picked up by a Marine veteran page. That page had 2.3 million followers. And by 12:30 a.m., someone at the Pentagon's Office of Public Affairs was watching it too. Let me know what you think in the comments. At 12:47 a.m., things got serious. Oceanside Police Captain Howard Mills arrived at the scene. He was Blake's boss's boss. He'd been called at home by the city manager. The city manager had been called by a congressman's office. The video had reached a former Marine who now served in Congress. Colonel Victor Chen arrived too. He was Rivera's commanding officer. He was in civilian clothes. Captain Mills reviewed all the footage on scene. He used a laptop in his vehicle. He interviewed Marcus. He interviewed Robert Martinez. He interviewed Olivia. He reviewed Blake's service record on his computer. He saw the 11 previous complaints. He watched the body camera footage. Actually, he tried to. Blake's body camera was conveniently malfunctioning. It wasn't turned on. This was the 17th time in 2 years Blake's camera had failed. Colonel Chen provided Rivera's full service record: 12 years, 3 combat deployments, decorated hero. Blake's story started to fall apart. Blake claimed Rivera was acting suspicious, that he wouldn't comply with basic commands. The video showed Rivera complied with every request. He spoke respectfully. He never raised his voice. Blake claimed he had reasonable suspicion the uniform was fake. He said people buy these online all the time. The reality, the uniform had the proper name tape, correct ribbon placement, appropriate rank insignia, proper regimental patches. Any veteran could identify it as real. Blake claimed Rivera refused to provide proper identification. The video showed Rivera immediately reached for his wallet when asked. Blake escalated when Rivera moved to get it. Captain Mills turned to Blake. "You're on administrative leave effective immediately. Badge and weapon, now. You're suspending me for doing my job." "No, I'm suspending you for false arrest, failure to follow proper procedure, and creating a PR nightmare. Internal Affairs will handle the formal investigation." Blake was told to leave the gas station property. A formal apology was issued to Captain Rivera on scene. Colonel Chen offered to drive Rivera home personally. Blake tried to argue, "This is ridiculous. I was protecting the community." "So one Marine complains, and I lose my job. What about all the real criminals I've arrested? I have a family, I have a mortgage. You can't do this over one mistake." Mills responded, "Blake, it wasn't one mistake, it was a pattern, and this time you picked the wrong person, and the cameras were rolling." Rivera declined medical attention, but he accepted the formal apology letter. He was exhausted, frustrated, but composed. "I just want to go home. I'll deal with this tomorrow." Marcus hugged Rivera. He gave him free gas. "Thank you for your service, and I'm sorry this happened here." Robert Martinez shook Rivera's hand. "You handled that with more grace than I would have, Captain." Rivera finally got home at 2:17 a.m. His wife was still awake. She was terrified after his texts stopped coming. But the consequences were just beginning. Someone had been recording, and by sunrise, the video had been seen by 4.7 million people. If you believe in accountability, hit that subscribe button. By 12:30 a.m., Olivia's TikTok video was uploaded. The caption read, "Cop arrests decorated Marine at gas station for wearing his uniform." By 1:30 a.m., it had 14,700 views. It was shared to Twitter by a veteran advocacy account. That account had 2.3 million followers. By 3:00 a.m., the video had 890,000 views across platforms. The hashtag Justice for Rivera was trending. By 6:00 a.m., the local news station KGTV picked up the story for morning broadcast. By 8:00 a.m., Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC were all running segments. By noon, the video had 4.7 million views. The hashtag Fire Officer Blake was trending nationally. By midnight on October 18, the video had 12.8 million views. It was on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. The numbers were staggering. On TikTok, it had 8.2 million views, 1.1 million likes, 340,000 shares. On Twitter, it had 3.1 million impressions, 89,000 retweets. On Instagram, it had 1.5 million views. It was reposted by Marine Corps meme pages. On YouTube, local news clips had a combined 2.4 million views. On Facebook, it was shared in 247 veteran groups. The public response was overwhelming. One user wrote, "My son served with Captain Rivera in Afghanistan. He saved lives, and this is how we treat our heroes? Disgusting." Another wrote, "I'm a retired Navy chief. If someone accused me of stolen valor while in uniform, I'd lose it. Captain Rivera showed incredible restraint." A Gold Star wife wrote, "My husband died in service. Seeing a real hero treated like this breaks my heart. The media coverage was everywhere. Local stations led with the story. National outlets ran segments. CNN called it Marine Hero Handcuffed while getting gas. Fox News asked, War on our troops. MSNBC covered police misconduct caught on camera. Military outlets like Military Times and Marine Corps Times all ran stories. At 9:17 a.m., Oceanside PD released a statement. We are aware of an incident involving one of our officers and an active duty service member. The officer has been placed on administrative leave pending a full investigation. We deeply respect our military community. The statement was criticized as too little, too late. Blake's wife posted on Facebook, "My husband is a good man who made a mistake. The hate and threats need to stop." The post was overwhelmed with comments. Tell your husband to stop harassing veterans. By 2 p.m., Blake's Facebook and Instagram were deactivated. Blake's attorney issued no comment. Share this video if you think others need to see this story. 3 days later, on October 20, Officer Blake made his first public statement. It went about as well as you'd expect. On October 25, 2024, Captain Rivera filed a federal lawsuit. He was represented by civil rights attorney Marcus Williams. The defendants were Officer Derek Blake, the City of Oceanside, and the Oceanside Police Department. The claims were serious: false arrest, unlawful detention, that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment, violation of civil rights, intentional infliction of emotional distress, defamation. Blake had publicly called him a fake. He'd accused him of federal crimes, and the department was sued for negligent hiring and supervision. The case was filed in U.S. District Court, Southern District of California. During discovery, Rivera's legal team uncovered Blake's full complaint history: 11 complaints in 4 years, 8 involved racial minorities or military personnel, 0 disciplinary actions beyond verbal counseling. The department had flagged Blake as high risk for civil rights violations in 2023, but they took no corrective action. The evidence count was damning: 4 security camera angles, 3 witness phone videos, 14 witness statements. 8 of those were from Marines who came forward. Blake's body camera malfunction. It was the 17th time in 2 years his camera had failed. Text messages from Blake to fellow officers were found. He'd sent one during the arrest. It said, "Got another fake Marine tonight. Wait until you hear what happened next." On December 15, 2024, the City of Oceanside offered a settlement. They wanted to avoid a long legal fight, and they wanted to avoid more publicity. The financial damages were $385,000 for emotional distress and reputational harm, $125,000 in punitive damages. That's money meant to punish and deter future misconduct, $67,000 in attorney's fees. The total was $577,000. But the consequences went beyond money. Blake was permanently banned from all Camp Pendleton-affiliated establishments. The base command maintained that list. Blake was banned from working in law enforcement in San Diego County. That was part of the settlement agreement. His name was added to the National Decertification Index. That's a database of officers who have lost their certification. Blake's career was over. On October 18, he was placed on administrative leave with pay. On November 3, Internal Affairs recommended termination. On November 10, Blake resigned. He said it was to pursue other opportunities. But really, he was avoiding a formal termination on his record. In December 2024, Blake applied to private security. Why firms? His applications were rejected because of the media coverage. By January 2025, Blake was reportedly working as a warehouse supervisor in Arizona. His career in law enforcement was over. No criminal charges were filed. The district attorney declined. He cited insufficient evidence of criminal intent. But the civil settlement included mandatory bias training for all OPD officers. 40 hours. OPD also implemented new policies. All military ID verifications must go through base MP stations before any arrest. Mandatory body camera usage. Failure equals automatic suspension. On December 16, Blake released a brief statement through his attorney. Mr. Blake regrets the misunderstanding and the distress caused to Captain Rivera. He wishes the captain well and thanks him for his service. There was no personal apology from Blake himself. The statement was criticized as hollow and lawyer-written. Captain Rivera held a press conference that same day. This was never about money. This was about accountability, about making sure no other service member is treated this way. If this settlement means better training, better policies, and better oversight, then something good came from a bad night. Rivera donated $50,000 of the settlement to the Wounded Warrior Project. The money was substantial, the policy changes were significant, but the story didn't end with money because Captain Rivera had something to say. On January 14, 2025, Captain Rivera sat down for an interview. He was at the Camp Pendleton Public Affairs office. He wore his dress blues. He spoke with Military Times. "That night changed how I see my uniform," he said. "I've worn it in war zones, at military funerals, at change of command ceremonies. I never thought I'd be arrested in it. For 12 years, this uniform meant honor. That night, someone treated it like a Halloween costume." His voice was steady but emotional. "My daughter asked me why the police put the silver bracelets on me. She's 6. How do I explain that? She used to think police officers were heroes. Now she's scared of them. I had nightmares for weeks. I'm trained for combat stress. I've been in firefights, but being handcuffed in my own country for wearing my own uniform, that broke something in me." He paused, then he said something important. "I'm an officer, I have rank, I have legal resources, I have a commanding officer who made phone calls. I had witnesses and cameras, but what about the lance corporal who gets pulled over, the young private who can't afford a lawyer, the veteran who doesn't have viral video to back them up? That's what keeps me up at night, not what happened to me, but what happens to service members who don't have what I had." His message to workers was clear. If you're a retail worker, a fast food employee, anyone in a service job, you don't deserve abuse. You have rights, you have dignity, and when someone crosses the line, document it, film it, report it, because the world is watching now. His message to customers was simple. Respect isn't optional, it's baseline human decency. Badge, uniform or not, no one has the right to abuse you, and if you witness it, speak up. The witnesses that night saved me. He had clear demands. "I want police departments to take complaints seriously. 11 complaints shouldn't be ignored. Patterns matter. I want body cameras that actually work. And when they malfunction, that should be an investigation, not an excuse. I want respect to be the default, not the exception." He expressed gratitude. "To Marcus at the Shell station, thank you for filming. To Robert, the Army vet who stood up for me, Semper Fi, brother. To everyone who shared the video, who demanded accountability, you're the reason anything changed at all." His final words were powerful. "This uniform represents sacrifice. It represents 12 years of my life and the lives of every Marine who came before me. Officer Blake saw it as fake. The public saw it as real, and that's the difference between cynicism and respect." But this case exposed something bigger. Captain Rivera wasn't the first service member harassed by Officer Blake, and Blake wasn't the first cop to ignore 11 complaints. The Bureau of Justice Statistics says that 61.5 million U.S. residents had contact with police in 2022. About 1.4% reported use of force or threat of force. That's 861,000 people. A Military Times survey found that 22% of active duty service members report experiencing disrespect in their local communities because of their service. This case was different because Rivera had resources. He had clear video documentation. He had viral attention. He had military support. But the system that let this happen is still there. Until we fix it, the next Derek Blake is already out there, badge in hand, looking for someone to bully. So let me ask you, Do we accept a system where 11 complaints equals 0 consequences, where pattern doesn't matter until the came? Ra's are rolling. Do we accept that your rights depend on whether you go viral, that accountability requires millions of views and Pentagon phone calls? Do we accept that respect is something you have to prove instead of something you deserve? Because if we don't fix the complaint systems, if we don't create real oversight, if we don't hold the Derek Blakes accountable before they arrest decorated Marines, then we're just waiting for the next viral video, the next ruined life, the next settlement paid with taxpayer dollars. Captain Rivera had rank, had resources, had cameras, had the Pentagon. Most people have none of that, and they're the ones paying the price every single day. Comment below, do you think Officer Blake should have faced criminal charges, or was the settlement enough? I want to hear your take. If you think stories like this matter, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep exposing these patterns. We're going to keep demanding better. We're going to keep fighting for accountability, for transparency, for a system where 11 complaints actually means something. This isn't just about one officer or one Marine. This is about all of us. See you in the next one.